Back everyone, welcome back. Now we know Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso has an extensive racing history. And I'll always argue these two racing wheel to wheel, there's nothing more mesmerizing, there's nothing more motivating than to see these two racing each other. They motivate each other, honestly, if you really think about it. The last time they had a collision wasn't a very good one. This was in Belgium. This was in 2022, quite a few years now. But nevertheless, it was not the best of incident. But these two legends of the sport, they've certainly given us a lot of entertainment over the years. Now in 2023, it was a different story. 2023, Alonso had a competitive car. 2023, Lewis Hamilton also had a competitive car. And what can I say? They certainly had a lot of fun racing against each other in this particular season. And that's the last time we ever seen these two champs had an opportunity to really race each other properly. Now, will we get that opportunity in the future anytime soon? Well, we really don't know. Alonso is not getting any younger. Lewis is not getting any younger. They are still in the sport, but will they meet on track? It's possible, especially with Adrian Newey joining the Aston Martin team. But what we really want to look at today is a statement I saw from Nürburgring, the former VP of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport, on Alonso versus Hamilton in 2007. And he says, and here's a bold statement, and it's a very good statement too. He said, and I quote, "Fernando Alonso could never realize that Lewis was as fast as him from the start, or even faster. He was world champion twice in a row, and he said to himself, it can't be that the newcomer is faster than me. But that's how it was, and not because he was at a disadvantage, as was sometimes claimed." Now, mind you, Fernando Alonso had the advantage in Australia the first race, a pit stop that cost Lewis Hamilton. A McLaren pit stop cost Lewis Hamilton to finish ahead of Alonso. Lewis finished third, his first podium, and he had 9 consecutive podiums. I don't care what advantage you think this guy has. 9 podiums consecutively. He has to drive the car. The team cannot drive the car for him. He doesn't have any special advantage or aid mechanically. All he has is consistency, raw speed, and sheer nerves. Lewis Hamilton is brilliant. But Fernando Alonso not being able to accept this, it really led him down to a dark path, because then he left McLaren. Arguably he shouldn't have. He should have stuck around for at least 08. But nevertheless, he left, he left because arguably he kind of had to leave because he was creating so much problems within the team. Alonso also has the advantage. He had the advantage. Alonso also had the advantage in Monaco. If the team was all on Lewis' side, why didn't they say, Alonso, step the fuck out of the way. Let Lewis by. Lewis is clearly the faster driver. Why didn't McLaren prioritize Lewis in the pit stop? A lot of people like to say, British team, they supporting a British driver. No shit. They hired him. Why wouldn't they support their driver? But it's a fallacy to say that they were supporting Lewis more than Alonso, or there was some unfair advantage. What made it even more difficult for Alonso is that he couldn't find any evidence to support his claims or to support his belief. He just couldn't believe this black kid could be as fast as he or faster. A lot of the times he was faster. You remember Fiji? Question to Alonso, who the hell was driving Lewis' car in Fiji? Was it the team that was driving Lewis' car? Was it a robot? So basically you're saying Lewis is so good, it's impossible to believe. That's what people are basically saying. Lewis is so good that it's impossible that he wasn't getting some sort of help from McLaren to drive that fucking car. There it is, Fuji 07. Fuji 07. If you've never seen these race clips, go have a look at it for yourself, man. Some people say Fiji 07 is better than Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone 08, when he lapped the entire grid by an entire minute. He lapped everyone on the grid up until 2nd or 3rd place. He finished ahead of most drivers up to like a minute. It was epic. And there's nothing quite an home Grand Prix for Lewis Hamilton. He's won it 9 times. But Alonso not being able to accept that, it really put him at a disadvantage. You see, Nico Rosberg said to himself, I'm just going to accept that Hamilton is just that good. This guy, you remember this guy, Nico Rosberg? Yeah, he just had to accept that Hamilton is just that good. Once Nico accepted that Hamilton is just that good, Nico could alleviate the BS, cut to the bullshit, and get right to it. He said, okay, if I can't beat him on race pace, how can I beat him? Qualifying. Okay. Lewis can be very good in qualifying, but he's not impossible. He is beatable in qualifying at least. Nico started with there. Nico found some consistencies in qualifying, and he also found some inconsistency in Lewis Hamilton's performance. He found that Lewis Hamilton performed best when Lewis Hamilton was quite happy. If Lewis Hamilton is happy, you should be worried. Nico realized if Lewis is not happy, Lewis was, human again. He was beatable again. And truth to Nico, we got to give him credit. He is bloody right. For all the times we've seen Lewis Hamilton falter, it's usually when he is distracted, not because of his life choices, but because of, just his happiness. He's not happy with the team, the car. There's something that he's just not feeling positive that particular weekend. But if he's been traveling, fashion shows, music, if he's been doing that, you remember Singapore 2018? If Lewis has that kind of mindset and he arrives on the weekend, no preparation, you're not going to beat him because he's just in too much of a good mood. If Alonso could have accepted this simple fact that Hamilton is really just that good, Alonso could have accomplished a lot more and realized actually there's other ways to beat Lewis Hamilton. Alonso could have went to Mercedes in 2016 if his behavior was a little bit more acceptable. But everyone knows that wherever he goes and he meets a competitive driver or something he doesn't like, instead of dealing with the problem like a mature adult, he creates chaos. He is the chaos that he complains about. And as much as I can see Alonso's got true talent, Alonso is one of the top drivers. I must admit, he's kind of had the biggest disappointed career in F1 history for a guy this good. Imagine a guy as good as Lewis, as good as, Schumacher, Prost, Senna, Fangio, yet he's only won 2 titles by not being in the right place at the right time, making the right investments, by making too much enemies, by making too much problems when he arrives in team. His talent is good enough. You know what Alonso reminds me of? He's like Verstappen in that he's talented enough, but they had to resort to dirty tactics to attempt to get the best results. And a lot of the time, Verstappen could just rely on his pure speed and he could win. The difference between Alonso and Verstappen is that Verstappen had his father's guidance. His father's guidance says, we'll stay at Red Bull, they will make a competitive car with Adrian Newey, we'll get under, we'll arrive with an engine freeze, we'll get things in place. We'll pay off the FIA, we'll sponsor them, we'll get them on our side. I'll protect you, Max. That's the difference. Alonso never had that kind of mentorship to tell him, how about you just be patient? Instead of thinking about it now, how about you think about where you're going to be in 5-10 years? He could have approached and convinced Mercedes that Mercedes, hey, you might want to give me a chance instead of giving Lewis a chance. Things like that. Alonso just has let himself down his entire career. And he was never able to fully accept the fact that Lewis was just that good. Lewis was better than him a lot of the times. Yeah, this will definitely go down in history as one of the greatest rivalries. And the fact that they're still racing in their 40s is even more iconic. If we ever get to see them race each other again on track, that's going to be mesmerizing to see. But unfortunately, they're the last 2 legends in the sport. Once they leave the sport, once they retire, that is it. I've told you, the new kids are the ones who are going to be pulling championships. Think about it. When Alonso and Lewis leaves the sport, who's going to be winning the next championships? It's either Max, Leclerc, Russell, Lando. It's those 4. Maybe a 5. Maybe Antonelli if he's that good. Maybe Carlos if Carlos gets back to a top team. Those are the guys who'll be pulling championships once these 2 legends leave the sports. The sports will become the youngest it's ever been, with the youngest driver we've ever seen. We're entering a new stage of Formula One. We only have another 2, 3, maybe 5 years with these legends. Something I do want to take a look at. Hamilton and Alonso in 2007. These are the qualifying head-to-head, by the way. It's absolutely incredible. These are their qualifying. This is their wins. This is their podiums. That's their points. That's how good they are. That's how good they are. That's how equally matched they are. Arguably, you could say, well, Lewis did crash out at China. If he didn't, he'd have significantly more points. He would have been the clear world champion. It's really, honestly, quite a thing that didn't occur when Lewis won in his rookie season. Their tales will forever be linked after the single season they spent together in McLaren in '07, when both men were caught in the middle of, and in their own ways sometimes conducted, the storm that swallowed the team whole. Yeah, when you got two fierce drivers in the same team, oof, boy oh boy, if they don't get along, if they're too quick for each other, it's going to create some problem. And at this time, Hamilton, it was good for Hamilton because he wasn't the hunted. He was the hunter. Alonso was the two-time champ. Hamilton was the one hunting him down. And understand this, it was 2008. Hamilton won his first championship. He had to wait 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 2014, he finally won his second championship. And the rest is pretty much history. But he did stay with McLaren for quite a few years. He didn't just give up on the team straight away. But McLaren car in 2012 was so unreliable. Honestly, how could Lewis stay? If Lewis did stay, where would he be now with McLaren at the back of the grid? No, that's not Lewis Hamilton. The best drivers are attracted to the best team. The best teams often hire the best drivers. Why do you think Ferrari has Leclerc? Why do you think Mercedes has Russell? Why do you think they had Hamilton? Why do you think McLaren at the time had Alonso and Hamilton? Why do you think Red Bull has Verstappen? The best drivers find themselves in the best team. That is common sense. It's even a blind person could see it. But you have to put some respect on what Alonso and Lewis Hamilton did accomplish together in 2007 for a rookie to get anywhere this close to Fernando Alonso. I'm not surprised Fernando Alonso find it difficult to accept this. He will always find it difficult to accept this because he's been told his entire life that, listen, there ain't no way a black guy could come in this sport and do anything close to what you could do, Fernando. That's what he's been told his entire life. That's what a lot of drivers get told their entire lives. Hey, you see that guy over there? He's not your real competition. Don't worry about him. He's not smart enough. That's what they love to say about Lewis. When in actuality, Lewis has created a masterpiece in Formula One history. He is the smartest driver amongst them. He's outsmarted the entire sport. I give you what, he's a hell of a lot smarter than Alonso. Look at their, just look at the way they handled their entire careers. The difference. Yeah. You really want to talk about who's smarter? But that's what drivers like Alonso get told their entire life. That guy over there, Lewis, don't worry about him. He's not your real competition. That's all British bias. He's getting some hidden advantage. He's getting special treatments and all that kind of BS. Who you really need to worry about is the other white drivers. The other white drivers, Raikkonen, yeah, that's who you need to worry about. It turns out you never need to worry about Raikkonen. Raikkonen was never even worried about his own career. Schumacher, that's who you really need to worry about. Schumacher retired after he got his butt whooped twice. The list goes on. The real person you should be worried about is the person everyone underestimates. That's the real person you should be worried about. That guy that everyone underestimates, he's going to have the advantage because you've underestimated him. Underestimating Lewis, first race, he went around two cars. He went around Alonso and the guy who overtaken him. First corner, went around two cars. 9 podiums straight. Yeah. You underestimate someone, that's how you get beaten. And your inability to accept the truth, that makes it even more worse. That compounds it. But Hamilton was a monster. People like to say Hamilton is not the best in qualifying. Doesn't have to be the best in qualifying. He's won 7 titles. Are you really going to tell him how he should have done it better? The only person that can tell Lewis Hamilton something to make Lewis Hamilton listen is probably Michael Schumacher. Because Michael knows what it takes to win 7 titles, even if he didn't do it legally. Even if he did crash into people to win the championship. But that's the only person who's accomplished what Lewis has accomplished, or anything close to what Lewis has accomplished. Lewis has way more wins, podiums, poles, etc. You want to see a qualifying masterpiece? Kovalainen, qualifying with Lewis, wins with Lewis. Jenson Button, qualifying, wins with Lewis. Nico Rosberg, qualifying, wins with Lewis, career points, podiums. Jenson Button had more podiums being with Lewis as his teammate. He also had more points over the course of their journey together. And a lot of people love to say Jenson had more points, Jenson had more points. All respect to Jenson Button, but ain't nobody talking about Jenson Button. Ain't nobody will ever remember Jenson Button. No offense to Jenson Button, but they're not in the same league. Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton. Holy shit, that's crazy. 71-30 in qualifying. Holy shit. 50-10 wins in holy shit. I didn't know it was that bad. Holy shit. So you can be close to Lewis like a guy like Alonso. You can be close to Lewis like a guy like Russell. You can be close to Lewis like a guy like Nico Rosberg. Nico is really, underestimated. You can be close to Lewis like a guy like Jenson. Arguably, even Jenson admitted Lewis was great. In qualifying, he was absolutely a monster. But notice something changed about Lewis in qualifying after he moved to Mercedes. Once he moved to Mercedes, he started focusing on his race performance rather than just qualifying. Because before that, he was a qualifying monster. Kind of like Russell, kind of like, Leclerc. After he moved to Mercedes, he started realizing qualifying is not everything. It doesn't matter if you can qualify first, second, or third. You can still lose the championship. You can still lose the race. Lewis realized, I need to set up this car for the race and then do my best in qualifying. If I get out qualified, fine. If I out qualify the other guy, great. But the race is way more important than qualifying a lot of the times. A lot of the times, you can beat the other guy off the line. You can beat him with strategy. You can overtake him. But if your car is only set up for qualifying and it's shit in the race, do not be surprised if you don't do well in the race. George Russell has this problem where his race performance is nowhere close to his qualifying performance. And that's something we see with a lot of drivers in their early parts of their career. They put too much into qualifying and they don't put enough into race performance. It takes them a while to learn. Lewis did the same thing in his early parts of his career. But really and truly, these two guys, after 100 race starts, this is what their careers look like. 2 championships for Alonso, 1 for Hamilton, 18 wins, 16 poles for Alonso, 21 poles for Lewis. Do you see what I mean? Early parts of Lewis' career, he was a qualifying monster. 1 pace, 1 lap monster. And people keep on saying, yeah, Lewis in 2024, he needs to get his qualifying sorted. He got qualifying issues. He doesn't have qualifying issues. Lewis has built a championship mindset, and his championship mindset says he needs to focus more on race performance than qualifying. Race performance way more important than qualifying. He's not trying to win the qualifying head-to-head with George Russell. No one is caring about that years from now. What we will care about is how did he perform in the race? Did he win championships? Did he win more championships? Lewis doesn't want to change his mentality back to a rookie, back to where he used to be in Formula One, whereas qualifying was great, race performance was shit. He holds on to his mentality. He tries to get Mercedes to improve the car. They refuse. So he says, okay, I'll just move team to where they prioritize race performance rather than just qualifying. Lewis doesn't have a qualifying issue, but he's made a strategy for himself that works. Won him 7 championships legally. Should be 8, should be 9, could be 10. He doesn't have a qualifying issue. He's never had a qualifying issues. Lewis is one of the fastest guy under 1 lap. He still is one of the fastest guy under 1 lap. But he does not prioritize 1 laps anymore. Because he realizes race performance is where it's at, baby. I saw this on Reddit and I was just wondering, let's just read it out. Lewis Hamilton beats Alonso in the same car as a rookie. This person says, I'm new to the sport, have been trying to learn more and more about the different drivers just to stumble upon this fact. I've seen a lot of talks about Lewis' success is due to large part of having the best car underneath him, which seems fair enough, but I understand that Alonso is widely considered one of the best pure drivers. So in the fact that Lewis beat him during his rookie season, as much as the reason people consider Lewis the GOAT, 7-time champion, and these responses were brilliant. Lewis is arguably the best pure driver of all time, right up there with Alonso, Senna, Prost, Jim Clark, Stewart, Schumacher. Ever since he was a kid in karts, he had a pace advantage in both dry and wet, almost no rivals could touch. That is true. If he really gets that car right in race performance, forget about it. Think of him like LeBron James of Formula One, LeBron was already NBA ready as 17-year-old kid, and when he later made an NBA debut, he was immediately one of the best players in the league. 2007 was no ordinary rookie. He was a freakish talent, and if he'd been paired with almost any other driver than Alonso in 2007, he would have absolutely smoked his teammate. Alonso did well to match him, as shocking as that may sound. That is true. Well said. The greats, even as teenagers, they're ready. They're already some of the best drivers in the world, even at the best level in the world. And that's just crazy to even, imagine. Lewis is in the best car because he's arguably the best driver on the grid. He's earned it. Saying he only won 7 titles because the car is just people being sour. His first 2 years of McLaren were absolutely stellar. That is true. As much as I'm not a fan of Lewis, this is what I've been keep telling people, especially new fans in my social circles. Yes, he's had the best car, but he's had to be the best to get into the best. Look at how long it took him to get the Ferrari car, to get it and to become a Ferrari driver. He had to earn 7 titles. Did any other driver have to earn 7 titles to get a Ferrari drive? No, but Lewis had to. Ferrari wouldn't hire him until Rosberg got there, until Lewis made the connections that were so vital. He doesn't just get the best car. Was the McLaren in 09 the best car? Nope. How about 010? Nope. How about 2010? How about 2011? No. In 2012, maybe, but the unreliability was horrible. Was the Mercedes the best car in 2013? Nope. Was it the best car in 2022? Nope. 23? Nope. 24? Nope. 25? Probably not. But he's not there anymore in 25, so he doesn't always have the best car. That's an oversimplification, and people love to use that one. And when people use oversimplification, what they're basically using it and basically saying is you're not smart enough to understand that I'm using an oversimplification, and you're not smart enough to question that I'm using an oversimplification. So question these people, because they're really, treating you as you're unintelligent when they use these oversimplifications to describe something that is not easily describable. The best drivers often get to the best car. But what they're really trying to say is we never seen Lewis in a midfield car. Well, that Mercedes in 2022, 23, probably 24, wasn't that a fucking midfield car? McLaren in 09, wasn't that a midfield car? He's been in midfield cars, just not midfield teams. And just not long enough. He's smarter than that. People really wanted just to see him struggle at the back of the grid. That's what people wanted to see. They said he must earn his spot. He did earn his spot against a 2-time world champion, baby. If that's not earning your spot in this sport, I don't know what the fuck is. It's not like you can say, oh, Lewis is at the best car, but he's never made good use of it. He's made brilliant use of it. 7 titles. Should be 8 if they didn't steal his title in 2021. But they did steal his title. So what are you going to say then? Well, listen, we're going to end this video here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in our next video, okay? Peace.